Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to you all. I want to thank you for coming. I'm going to be reading poems by two poets and I will be telling you about them. This is how we're celebrating our Juneteenth because this is a poetry and black history channel. I will give you the history of these poets and then I will tell you their poems. I will read their poems to you. I do want to speak a little bit on Juneteenth. So it was I can't remember what part of Texas that the people did not know that they were free until I think it was 2.5 years later uh, that they found out that they were free. So that's what Juneteenth is about. That's just a little bit of it. If you don't know much about it, go and look it up and find out about your history of Juneteenth. Because they don't teach this to us in school, and it's really important that we know. You know what I mean? We know so we can tell our children. My mom didn't tell me about this. I learned about Juneteenth actually as an adult from one of my children, and I'm not ashamed to say it because even though this is a Black History channel, I started my Black History journey of learning Black history on my own about 3 years ago, I believe. So I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I'm sure that a lot of you've learned a lot and grown a lot here with me. And I just want to thank all of you that come by here, leave positive comments, and learn with me and just love with me. Sometimes the things we learn is hard, but it's a must that we do. I just thought I would say those things. So, first, we're going to be learning about Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. She was born September 24th, 1825. She passed away February 22nd, 1911. She was an abolitionist, a suffragist, poet, teacher, public speaker, and writer. One of the first Black American women to be published in the United States. So I think that is awesome sauce right there. Now we're going to be reading one of her poems. Poem by Frances Ellen Watkins. Make me a grave where you will, in a lowly plain or lofty hill. Make it among earth's humblest graves, but not in a land where men are slaves. I could not rest if around my grave I heard the steps of a trembling slave. His shadow, my silent tomb, would make it a place of fearful gloom. I could not rest if I heard the tread of a coffle gang or the shambles led, and the mother's shriek of wild despair rise like a curse on the trembling air. I could not step if I saw the lash drinking her blood at each fearful gash, and I saw her babes torn from her arm, from her breast, like trembling doves from their parent nest. I'd shudder and start if I heard the bay of blood ground seizing their human prey as they bound afresh his galling chain. If I saw young girls from their mother's arms bar- bartered and sold for their youthful charms, my eyes would flash with a mournful flame, my death pale cheek grow red with shame. I would sleep, dear friends, where bloated might can rob no man of his dearest right. My rest shall be calm in any grave where none can call his brother a slave. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Next poem I will be reading is called The Sale Began, or it's either called The Slave Market. I'm not sure, but we're going to read it. The sale began. Young girls there, defenseless in their rigidness who stifled something deep. Despair revealed the anguish of their breast, and women stood with streaming eyes and saw their precious children sold. Unheeded rose their bitter cries as tyrant barked at them for gold, and men who sold crime was their hue, the empress of their hand, and small and trembling children too were gathered in that mournful path, and women with their love and truth for those in sable foams do dwell, gazed on the loves of their youth with anguish. None paint nor tell you who have laid your loves to rest and wept about that lifeless clay. No, not the anguish of the breast whose loves are rudely torn away. The sale began.